My name is Ethan Ward, and the day they banned me from the country club was the day I realized just how far people will go to protect their egos. 4 years, the Ridgeview Country Club had been the pride of our small town, a place where the right kind of people gathered to play golf, sip cocktails, and pretend their lives were perfect. My family had been members for decades, though I was always treated like an outsider among them. My father was a respected businessman, my mother a socialite, and my older brother fit the club's image perfectly: charming, polished, and wealthy. I, on the other hand, was the quiet one, the one who didn't fit the crowd. I dressed simply, spoke honestly, and didn't care much for small talk. That alone made me a target for gossip. I still remember the day things shifted. A few years back, I started a small business in real estate development. It wasn't glamorous, and it definitely wasn't easy. People at the club, including my parents' friends, loved to whisper that I'd never make it. They laughed when I declined to join their investment projects, the ones that looked profitable on paper but reeked of arrogance and short-term greed. One man in particular, Richard Hale, the club president, made it his mission to remind me that I didn't belong. "You know, Ethan," he'd say with that condescending smile, "maybe once you've built something real, you'll understand what success looks like." I never reacted. I just nodded, smiled, and went back to work. Over time, my company grew. I worked quietly, buying undervalued land, improving properties, and reinvesting profits. I didn't flaunt my success because I didn't need validation, especially not from people who measured worth by table reservations and golf handicaps. But one evening, everything came to a head. I went to the club for dinner with a friend, someone from out of town who wanted to see how fancy our local scene was. As we entered, Richard intercepted us at the entrance, wearing that smug grin that always followed bad news. "Sorry, Ethan," he said loud enough for everyone nearby to hear, "you're no longer welcome here. The board has decided your membership doesn't align with our community standards." The room went quiet. A few members whispered, some smirked, others looked away. I asked calmly, "Community standards? Or just your standards?" Richard chuckled. "You tell me," he said, stepping aside as if granting me the chance to leave with dignity. I looked around one last time, the chandeliers, the polished floors, the same shallow smiles I'd grown up around, and said, "You're right. I don't belong here." Then I turned and walked out. My friend apologized on the way home, but I just laughed. "Don't worry," I said. "They'll see me again. Just not the way they expect." Over the next few months, something interesting happened. Ridgeview Country Club, despite its reputation, was in trouble. Memberships were declining, maintenance costs were rising, and the board was quietly looking for investors. Through a holding company I'd established years earlier, I began negotiations, discreetly, patiently. The process took nearly 6 months, and no one, not even my parents, had any idea I was behind it. Then one Tuesday morning, the deal closed. I signed the final documents transferring ownership to my company. Ridgeview Country Club, the same place that banned me, now belonged entirely to me. The following Friday, they hosted their annual gala. The same crowd was there, Richard and his wife, my parents, and the usual cluster of self-important faces. I arrived late, in a simple black suit, not to show off, but to enjoy the quiet irony of the night. When Richard saw me walk in, his expression hardened. "This event is for members only," he snapped, his voice already trembling with irritation. I smiled. "You're right," I said calmly, "and as the new owner, I approve my attendance." The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. He blinked, confused, then stammered, "What are you talking about?" I handed him a folded document, the finalized acquisition papers. His face drained of color as he scanned the pages. The crowd around us went still. My mother looked stunned, my father expressionless. "You see," I said quietly, "you banned me from a place I already owned." I let that sentence sit in the air for a moment, then added, "But don't worry, Richard, you're free to stay as my guest." The room erupted in murmurs, but I didn't linger. I didn't need applause or revenge speeches. I walked out to the terrace, looked over the vineyard-lined hills, and smiled. That night wasn't about revenge, it was about closure. The same people who once measured me by their standards were now standing inside a building that existed because of mine. In the weeks that followed, I made some quiet but meaningful changes. I opened club memberships to a broader community: young entrepreneurs, artists, teachers, people who actually contributed something valuable beyond a last name or inheritance. Some of the old members left, of course. Others stayed, humbled. And as for Richard, he resigned shortly after that night, though not before sending a brief letter that ended with, "I underestimated you." Now, when I walk through Ridgeview, I don't see the arrogance or the judgment that once filled its halls. I see opportunity, growth, and quiet satisfaction. They banned me from the country club, not knowing I just bought it. And honestly, I couldn't have planned a better ending.